I think you come to the Belgium to win it. What a show's fight.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. And Coach, we get a chance to talk to you after we have finally played a football game. After 652 days, the Little Giants were on the field Saturday, a 33-23 victory over Rose-Hulman. What were your thoughts looking at the team's play in the film Saturday night and Sunday preparing for this week?
Sure, just getting to the game felt completely strange after not doing it for essentially 2 years. And then on top of that, of course, it rained the entire game, so there were challenges. There are disasters in any opening game at any level. We're going to watch it in the NFL this weekend. For us, it was the layoff, the rain. We still fought our way through it and beat a pretty feisty Rose-Hulman team. I felt horrible about the last touchdown at the end. Our team did too. They scored with a second left. But overall, absolutely delighted. We won the game and we're moving forward.
While we look at some highlights from the game, let's talk about some individual performances. On offense, obviously it started with Liam Thompson, a career-high 340 passing yards. He rushed for a career-high 87 yards, accounted for 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, rushed for a touchdown, and was named the North Coast Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Week. Talk about his performance in the first game back.
Well, and I think the stats don't say enough about the way he controls the game, the flow of the game. When we want to speed it up, he can do that. When we want to slow it down, he can do that. Just a dominant performance, and we look for many more from him in the upcoming season.
You got a lot of people involved on offense, Donovan Snyder and Cade Campbell in the running game along with Liam. And then 7 different receivers, Derek Allen, both as a receiver and carried for the first touchdown. Just a ton of guys. Cooper Sullivan, Nick Hammond, all involved. Heisman Skeens had a big catch, and Cade Campbell had a big catch from the running back position. So you really move the ball around to a lot of different personnel.
Even with all the returners coming back on offense, Cade Campbell, Donovan Snyder, Derek Allen, Joe Mullen, Nate Peretz had never taken a snap in a Wabash College football game. They did a absolutely super job. Then we had guys on defense playing in their first game ever also.
And your defense really put together a great performance. You were facing an All-American running back from the 2021 spring season in Welshans, and you were able to just shut him down. If you take away the 3 big pass plays that Rose-Hulman got, your defense limited Rose-Hulman to an average of 3 yards per play. Just an outstanding job by them, particularly down in the trenches.
Well, and it starts up front for us on defense. Seth Burrish had an incredible game. He and Jose Franco were named our defensive players of the week. Felt like they dominated the line of scrimmage, along with Stephen Thomas, Will Olive, Kenny Coleman did a nice job too. We have a group of new backers in. They all did a super job. And then I thought the secondary played very well too.
Yeah, secondary picked off 2 passes. Jose Franco had 1 on a tip drill. You also got a forced fumble. Avery Epstein also had an interception. Just a really solid performance by that group.
It did, and certainly there were some faux pas within that mix. We'll take them, learn from them, and it's not just a cliche. I've heard that a million times. We do learn from our mistakes at this place and get moving on with the rest of the season.
One last person we need to mention, Joey Ane had an All-American night. Now, no surprise, since he is an All-American, a 73-yard punt. He had 5 punts inside the 20-yard line. He was controlling the starting position for Rose-Hulman. If you weren't scoring, then Joey was pinning them deep and letting the defense go to work from there.
I think it's interesting that there are people that have huge expectations on them, and then there are people that meet their expectations, and then there are people that exceed expectations. Joey certainly did that.
All led to a 33-23 victory for the Little Giants over Rose-Hulman. Now you get ready for conference play. The Little Giants are picked to be the favorite, but that doesn't mean anything starting this week because now you actually play the games. And Wabash will travel to Hiram for a noon kickoff. What transition do you go to from preparing for a non-conference opponent like Rose-Hulman to getting ready to make a long road trip? Rose was a leave Saturday afternoon, get there Saturday night, back home before midnight kind of game. Now you've got the overnight travel, you've got the early game and the long trip home. How does that change the preparation, or does it?
It's helpful. We have, I think we're taking 75 kids on the trip. More than half have traveled with Wabash football. They're teaching the young guys, and some of those young guys are starters for us, about handling an 8-hour bus ride, overnight hotel stay, getting back on the bus, busing for another hour to the stadium, and winning the football game. So there's a bunch of small pieces we're putting together. I believe we'll be completely ready to play on Saturday.
Hiram picked up a big win in its opener, 41-21 victory over Bethany. Looked really good on offense, had some big defensive plays as well for a young coach in his first head coaching experience at Hiram. So they're going to come in on a really high note. What have you seen on film? What are you preparing for from them?
Well, I really applaud what they're doing on offense, where they are sticking with a run game, and often in our conference or in college football right now, it's just throw the thing around and hope you hit something. But they really do. They play with a fullback and a tight end, and they stick with the run game. Then defensively, they're physically a very talented group, again, especially back in the secondary.
What does Wabash need to do this week? We talk about this. You mentioned learning from your mistakes, and coaches, again, will pull another cliche out. Teams show their best improvement from week 1 to week 2. What do you most want to see your team improve on in week 2?
I think on defense, we're going to eliminate the big play, and you have to get beat by the big play. You have to fail. Obviously, at Wabash College, in the classroom and on a football field, we embrace failure. You learn from failure. We failed defensively on 3 big plays last Saturday night. I believe we're going to learn from those things. Then on offense, the number one thing we don't do is turn the ball over. And we had a couple of bad turnovers. There's no two ways about it. One was in the red zone. Another put Rose-Hulman in the red zone. Need to eliminate those mistakes. But the learning curve was tremendous, and I think we've kind of fought our way through it.
That game begins at noon on Saturday. Little Giants at Hiram. Links to the game both for live video and live stats, as well as my broadcast on WNDY 91.3 FM, can be found on the Wabash College Sports site on the football schedule page. If you can't be there in person, we invite you to watch the game on Saturday. And then, Coach, we are now less than 2 weeks away from finally getting a home game here at Little Giant Stadium, where we're filming this show up in the W Club. How excited are you, the staff, and the players about, after you get finished business at Hiram, getting here and playing a home game here?
I think that's going to hit us Saturday afternoon when the game's over, that we are going to have a home game, which will be a new routine for us to learn. But I just can't imagine. I've received so many great communications, texts, emails, whatnot, phone calls, people excited to visit the new Little Giant Stadium.
We'll tell you about that game next week, but we do want to remind you that you can purchase tickets for not only the game against Allegheny, the first home game on September 18th here at Little Giant Stadium, but for all of the games with the exception of the Monon Bell game against DePaul. You can purchase your general admission seating on the Wabash website. There are links to purchase tickets both on the football schedule page and on the main sports page as one of the 4 stories on the main sports page. You can also purchase W Club seats. Those are the red chairback seats at the top of the seating area in the stadium. It does provide access to the W Club, again, where we're filming today. Those seats are not available for the opening game against Allegheny, but you can either purchase season seats at $450, and those seats are good for the remaining 3 regular games against Oberlin, against Worcester, and against Wittenberg, and also good for the Monon Bell game against DePaul. Or you can purchase single game seats for the W Club and the chairback seats. Those seats run for $100 per seat, and you can only purchase those seats right now for the first 3 games: Oberlin, Worcester, and Wittenberg. Monon Bell tickets, of course, will go on sale later this year, and we'll tell you more about that once they become available. Coach, until then, until we get back here next week and get ready for that home game, good luck, safe travels to Hiram. I'll be there with you, and we'll look to come away with a victory over the Terriers.
Thank you.
You've been watching the Don Morel Show, your chance to hear the thoughts and comments of the head football coach of the Little Giant program. We'll talk to you next week.
I think you come to the Belgium to win it. One that shows fight.